This is the Refinery featuring Free Radical Network, the Party of Choice, and the Conservative Union here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
All right, good evening. This is Tuesday, December 16th, 2014. This is the Refinery, the place where grassroots organizations come together to explore the best ways to make conservative messaging work, to reach and influence even more people. You can watch us live here every Tuesday at 8:30 Central on the refineryshow.com or our Google Plus event from our community. That website also has links for you to listen or download later to our podcast, which is broadcast on Vigilant Liberty Radio. You can also listen to the podcast and subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher or TuneIn Radio or Spreaker. Spreaker is where the Vigilant Liberty Radio thing is played. This is also broadcast on YouTube, and you can watch our YouTube channel. And also throughout the week, JD and Felicia put together clips, kind of a best of 5-minute clips that we share out on Google and Facebook and Twitter. So if you're not able to listen to the Refinery, well, ask someone for help, because we're doing the best we can to make sure that we're out there. We're everywhere you want to be, like Visa. Uh-oh, am I going to get a cease and desist from somebody?
Great, no. The letters.
The Refinery is not sponsored by Visa.
Oh no, there's going to be a copyright violation. Oh no. Okay, and as this is going to be our, well, not our second to the last show before Christmas, because I think we're going to go ahead and do the show on December the 23rd, Tuesday before. I'll be here. Felicia will be here. Whoever else is here. Why not? But anyway, tonight we have me and Ryan from the Conservative Union. We have Peter, JD, and Felicia from Free Radical Network. And we have Chandra from the Party of Choice. Corey and Andy are out today, I don't know, doing something. Hopefully they're buying me a really nice present for Christmas.
I believe what's happening is they went ladder shopping so that when Andy digs his next hole, they had some trouble getting him out of it the last time, so they need a new ladder to make sure that he can get out of there.
One of those lightweight collapsible ones that Corey can carry and drop down to him. That makes sense. That's really a good plan. He is so good at digging holes for himself, and he totally keeps digging.
The world needs ditch diggers too.
That's
and
true.
Because we care, we usually help him dig, which is my personal thrill.
Is that a shovel-ready job?
Oh, yeah, it is. It's a shovel-ready job. Way to go. Also, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah for Hanukkah celebrators out there everywhere. If you haven't yet heard the Maccabees song about Hanukkah, it's a great one. It's all about flipping latkes in the air sometimes, singing Ayo, Ayo. I'm not going to sing for y'all. You're welcome. You truly don't know how painful it would be if I did sing for you. So, that's the happy Hanukkah celebration, beginning of our 12 festival, 8 nights Festival of Lights kind of thing, celebration of lights. Then also in the news today, I'm certain that everybody has seen the terrorist attack in Pakistan, where last I heard it was 135 people dead. Is that?
Including mostly kids, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because the Taliban decided to go in and blow up a military school. Lots of young men and women. Was it mostly boys? Was it a boys' school or was it a mixed gender?
I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see anything specific about that. All I know is that in the past week we had the guy holed up in Australia in the chocolate shop and the hostage situation there.
That was just yesterday.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
And we have this. It's
not
been
and I don't know how much the thing in Australia was a Muslim terrorist deal versus a really bad guy. I mean, the guy had a criminal record long as your arm and was just a horrifically bad person who was also a radical Muslim extremist. I think that was a tipping point and an excuse for him, though probably not a primary motivator. I think evil in general was his primary motivator. The Taliban attack at the school in Pakistan was quite clearly religious extremism. It was Islamism or whatever it is. And remember, this is the Taliban, and the Taliban kicked ISIS out because ISIS was too crazy for the Taliban. Just for some perspective for you guys. And ISIS, and it was earlier this year, I believe, that Obama talked about negotiating with the Taliban. And Hillary has just recently spoken about how we need to empathize with our enemies, not talk to them, not negotiate with them, not cooperate with them, or any of the fairly normal diplomatic, political things that one would say. But she was genuinely talking about being sensitive and understanding and empathizing, not sympathizing, but empathizing with our enemies. And she was talking about ISIS.
We should check our non-Islamic terrorist privilege.
Yeah, apparently. With the pandering to the Islamic enemy and the inability to name it for what it is among the left, followed by the atrocities that they continue to commit on a regular basis, it makes me lose all respect for people who vote for them, because I just can't understand how you can support that in the face of these kinds of atrocities. I don't get it.
Leslie, if I may step in for a moment, couple things on this particular one, the Taliban shooting up the school. They blatantly said that this was revenge for giving the Nobel Peace Prize to Malala, so that Muslim girl. So they said, we're here to kill all the other Malalas. So they also set a teacher on fire in front of the children. The children, just so you know, were they were teenagers, so we're looking between 13, 14, and 16 years old. And they were not discriminated about their killing. It was basically everybody at the school, teachers and children. I'd also like to point out that, for our own memory's sake, this is not the first school shooting where large numbers of children have been murdered by Muslim extremists. The other one would be Beslan in Chechnya, and Muslim extremists did the same thing there, and it was much more horrific. I will not go into the graphic details on that one, but it's
and that was
obviously
2-3 years. When was Beslan?
Beslan would have
3 years
been
ago?
no. This would have been about 8 or 9 years ago. So much further back.
And that was like 400 people dead.
Yes, 400 dead, and there was
Over a
real
period of
concerns. It was over a period of days, and it was pretty horrific. So to say, well, this is just an isolated case, it certainly is not. So anyway, that's all I had to add. I just felt that those were pertinent facts to the discussion. So thank you.
Yeah, it's mind blowing that we can gauge Islamic school shootings from these terrorist incidents and say that any number of people killed, but the fact that there's such a there's a grade between this past shooting and the one in Brazil, that it's absolutely mind blowing what these guys are doing. It's awful.
Well, and the prediction is that the next world war, global conflagration that we're going to have, will be kind of termed the clash of civilizations, only because it's a little too awkward to say it's the war between civilization and non-civilization, but it really will be civilization versus non-civilization. And the Islamists are fighting against the forces of civilization because they don't want girls to be educated. I mean, this is a real thing to them. They really think women shouldn't go to school. And we have people saying we should negotiate.
Well, okay, but
empathize with that.
But let's think about that for a second, and I'm not defending this in any way, but in that part of the world, in the Middle East in general, that's been a view for a long time. Western ideas and women, voting, driving, women could own businesses, sort of, in part, but typically commerce was done by men. Education was handled by men. Harems were a thing. This is not new culturally. And what's happened is it's sort of, you've given the Middle East a taste of Western life. There's been, very advanced Western inroads in the 20th century made in these countries, and now they're going back. And that is...
Right, it's the backsliding.
Yes, because we have seen, women being, highly educated, going to college. In the 70s is when this sort of thing started to turn. But before that,
we've
you
all
had
seen the
modern
pictures
era.
like in Egypt and Iran of college women and that kind of thing.
Right, but that was a 20th century sort of happening that sort of thing that came culturally to the Middle East, sort of westernized things. And then in the 70s, that was like the peak of that, and then it got rolled back.
Precisely. If I could kind of step in there just for a second. The way I don't like to speak a whole lot on Muslim culture simply because I'm not an authority. I'm not well educated on the Muslim religion nor on Sharia law. And I understand that the two are separate entities, although, they combine them oftentimes. The way that I understand it is that women are not, and I think that this is more according to Sharia law. And like I said, I'm not an authority, but I don't think women are considered to be humans per se. I think they're more along the lines of another kind of species almost, that help promote the male species. But that kind of goes back to medieval thinking. And, I do know that sometime along the line in Christian beliefs that, that I think it was the Roman Catholic Church at some time, and it was in the Dark Ages, it was, like around 1500, that they got together and decided that women were human. I don't think that the Muslim religion, and I shouldn't say Muslims, that the Sharia law people have gotten there yet, where they see women as people.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
No, I was going to say I agree with that. I mean, really, if you look at Western culture, I mean, you talk about going back to, 14th, 15th century, or even the 13th century, that they said, hey, this is, women are actually not chattel or, cattle, just a piece of property, but rather they're, human beings, like men. But that being said, I'd like to point out that women didn't have a right to vote in this country until, 100 years ago? I think it's even been less than that. I mean, not that I keep track. I just, for me, I grew up and it's like, well, yeah, women could vote. I don't understand what the issue is.
It was 1920. I remember that episode of Schoolhouse Rock. It was 1920.
Okay, 1920. There we go.
The 19th Amendment struck down that restrictive law. Felicia is singing along with me.
I haven't researched this, so I don't know, and perhaps somebody can step in and tell me, but I'm curious, when did women get the right to vote in other countries, for example, Europe or Australia or Canada? I'm curious as to whether or not the United States led the way on that.
Now I'm just having flashbacks from Mary Poppins and Sister Suffragette and that song, because, yeah.
Yes, I forgot that was a subplot to that movie. That's well remembered. Nice job there, Fishy.
I can sing it for you if you like.